Greetings and welcome to an impressions video. My first impressions video about the rumors revolving around the Switch, which there are many of, and which rumors I think will come to pass. I am Jeff the Christian Gamer, and we will be talking about 4 major points today. These points are hardware, price point, release date, and software, which are the primary focusing points of the January 12th presentation that Nintendo itself will be putting out. Basically, I'm going to be saying what I believe will happen during this this presentation in relation to those rumors, and yeah, I guess we'll see what comes to pass on the 12th. All right, so jumping right in here. First topic of discussion is the hardware. There are so many people right now that are a little anxious about the fact that Nintendo Switch is trying to be both a home and on-the-go sort of console, and I, for one, am not necessarily worried. From what we hear of the potential hardware specs of the Switch, it's not going to be too bad. It's actually going to be on par with the current offerings, namely the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, as far as the processors are concerned, NVIDIA is looking at producing this, or they are producing the GPU for the Switch system. Now, they're going to either be using the Pascal or the Maxwell line of chips, and I believe, personally, that they are going to go for something in between, I suppose you could say. Mostly because Pascal is too old, in my opinion, to be a relevant enough presence with the competition, especially coming out with their new systems. And the Maxwell is going to be probably too expensive to put into a Nintendo system, especially considering the fact that they typically go for a lower price point. Now, somewhere in between, like I said, would be a perfect sort of niche for them, because it would probably mix a bit of the power from the Maxwell with a bit of the affordability of the Pascal and make something glorious that we can all flock towards on that fateful day in March. Speaking of that fateful day in March, another big issue with the Switch, and what a lot of people have been talking about recently, is the price point. Now, we have a lot of debate about the price point, and it's actually starting to hammer out to be something closer to the $250 price range. I'm basically in agreement with that, so there's not really much to say there. $250 would probably be, well, where my opinion differs in this matter is that I believe $250 would be the intro price point for the Switch, and here's why. Again, with the hardware that we have going into this thing, we have a lot of power being packed into a really small package, which will mean that it is going to be difficult and very R&D intensive, and so the price will reflect that. A $250 price point will be a great starting area for the Switch to go from. Rumors online are saying something about the $250 price point being bundled with the game. I am all for that if that's the way it happens, but I'm not necessarily thinking that that's the way it's going to go. I think $250 would be the base model, or perhaps the enhanced model, or with more memory, or whatever arbitrary little bells and doodads they decide to put on there, and then the games will, come at a premium after that. There may be a sort of gaming bundle that might be a little more than $250, maybe closer to $300. But yeah, like I said, we won't know until it actually happens. My bet is on a $250 price point starting for the lower tier of the system. Alrighty, so next thing, console release dates. Yeah, we have literally nothing but a bunch of uneducated guesses here. Maybe an insider or two that claims they have the scoop, but nothing really concrete. So I'm going to go ahead and throw my hat in on this one and say that it is going to be released on the second Saturday of the month of March. Potentially a midnight Friday release, but more than likely it'll be a second Saturday of the month release. Let's see here. What else do we got? Ah, there we go. Software. For software, oh man, there's quite a bit of rumors and things flying around about what people want to see and what they wish they could see and what will actually be. But yeah, the most holistic look at it, to me, at least from the University Herald's take on the software on the software lineup for the Switch. They basically say that day one you have 3D Mario, Mario Rabbids, Splatoon, of course the port of Splatoon, Skyrim, and Just Dance for the launch window. And I don't see why any of those games would be a doubtful release set of release games. One notable omission that I see from the day one list is Breath of the Wild, which they decided to put under the first 6 months. I am in deep disagreement on that, in the sense that if they did decide to go ham and show nothing but Legend of Zelda stuff for months, like that's literally the only game that we've seen played and marketed, and people really seem to be going after it. If they decided to delay that particular game, the one that they've been showing off and working on for so long, I don't know if that would go particularly well for Nintendo. It wouldn't necessarily be a game breaker per se, but I could definitely see their launch not being as strong as it could be if they had if they had Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So with that line of logic, I'm going to say that I am 100% sure that is going to be a launch title. Again, this is my prediction. I do not know. However, I do have a strong beliefs based on Nintendo's history and the way that they've done things in the past, and I'm pretty sure that Breath of the Wild is going to be a launch title, especially with the way they've beefed it up. Yep, so their first 6 months, basically they have Smash ports, Bayonettas, and all those kinds of things in the first 6 months or so, with the rest of 2017 rounding out with Pikmin and Pokemon Stars. Pokemon Stars, which, again, I don't really have too many reservations or differences of opinion with respect to those games. I just figure that those will more than likely hash out to be later than what they're saying, and the first year or so, besides the launch day titles from Nintendo, will be them trying to get their next games together and planning them out and their ideas and all that kind of stuff. Something like the way that the Wii U went in that respect, though I hope it doesn't have as profound an effect as it did with the Wii U. I believe that the Switch will probably have a little bit of a gap between Nintendo games, specifically with relation to the launch title and the launch titles and the titles that are released next. Again, uneducated guess, no idea, but we will see. I am basing my opinions on, mostly opinion, mostly from what I've seen from Nintendo and based on what I think that they would do in the future. That's where that's coming from. Let me see, are there any other topics of discussion that I feel really need to be hit on? Oh, yeah, already the doom and gloom train is starting to mount for the Nintendo Switch, like it's going to be a failure already, And a lot of people, well, not necessarily a lot of people, but there are people out there that are naysayers, and you haven't even seen the system. Literally, all we have right now are a bunch of rumors, and it's going to remain that way for the next couple of days. You can be all doom and gloom whenever we see that, the Switch isn't what you expect it to be or whatever like that, but for now, we don't even know anything about the system beyond the fact that it's a portable system that you can plug into your TV. That's literally all we know, and we have a couple of really, really strong hints that we might have a couple of launch titles confirmed. That's it. So, unless this tiny bit of information is just a groundbreaking deal breaker for you, I mean, it's not really that big a deal. Like, even if it is a deal breaker for you, it's okay. You can wait until the system comes out and see how awesome it is and then decide to get it later. But I have every confidence in the fact that Nintendo's gonna bring it. They have a really, really high set of expectations placed on them by Nintendo themselves to make sure that this system is an excellent system. So I don't think that them as a company would say, oh, let's go ahead and skip out on this system that we've hyped up so much and tried so hard to develop. We've put so much time and energy and effort into. Yeah, let's go ahead and just throw that to the side. I don't see that happening. Even though the Wii U had its ups and downs and issues, it was actually a wonderful system. It just so happened that there was a lot of confusion and a lot of less than awesome happenings around the Wii U that kind of caused it I guess a souring of the taste of this system in people's mouths. I guess that's the most accurate way of putting it. But yeah, essentially, guys, don't freak out. It's going to be a Nintendo system. I'm getting it day one just because it's a Nintendo system. And I know there are a lot of people out there that are like me and are going to get it no matter what. But for those that aren't hardcore, into it all the time Nintendo fans, I admonish you to give this one a try. Not only because Nintendo has to bring the rain on this, but because they have consistently brought out good systems. Whether or not people received the systems well or what have you, they have always been innovators. They have always been the tech giant known for making a splash with something that people haven't seen before. So, if you're in for something that can be unique and unexpected, you're going to love the Switch. No matter whether or not you've been a Nintendo fan your whole life or, just for the past couple of weeks while they were announcing the Switch and doing Pokemon Go and all that kind of wonderful stuff, switching out to mobile, doing their mobile thing, etc., etc. Yeah, they're a strong company. They always have been, always will be. At least I hope they always will be. Yeah. Oh, and on that note, I actually had thought a little bit about whether or not this system was going to break Nintendo if it happened to flop. There were, again, the rumor mill churnings of the Switch being Nintendo's last hurrah or their last chance to be a relevant company, etc., etc. I'm not sure where that convention came into play, how people came to that conclusion that Nintendo's about to go out of business or they're in trouble if the Switch doesn't, make it or isn't successful. But they are a company that has decades in the video game business. They have billions of dollars sitting in a storage vault somewhere or in a bank somewhere that they can use anytime they want. They don't have debt with respect to their company. They are full and clear and have billions of dollars saved up. Even if the Switch happens to fail, even if the next 10 years they lose, $600 million every single year, they still will have money in the bank. They still will not be in debt. The Switch is not the end of Nintendo. Just throwing that out there, that's my 2 cents. Now, what I will say is, this could be the beginning of the end, in the sense that if the Switch flops, after the Wii U flopped, people are going to start to lose confidence in the company being able to produce a product that they would want to buy. That's the issue that I think people would really need to worry about with respect to the Switch. Not that Switch is going to flop the company just by not being successful, but that by the simple act of not selling, if this is the case, it will have people lose faith in the company completely. Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the matter. It's not the end. It's the beginning. The Switch is going to be awesome. This is my prediction right now. The Switch is going to be the highest selling system since the Wii for Nintendo. So, yeah, I think this is their 100 million unit hurrah. This is their big game changer. This is going to be the Wii U style game changer for them, except with respect to joining their 2 divisions into one magnificent whole. Now, this is very rose-colored glasses way of looking at things, I'll admit. However, if it so happens that I am right, I wouldn't be mad. Anywho's, thank you guys very much for watching. I am, again, Jeff the Christian Gamer. Thank you guys very much for taking the time to listen to my ramblings about the Switch and where it may or may not go, and about Nintendo and where it may or may not go. I will catch you guys on the next video, hopefully sometime in the very near future, and until that time, have a good day.